Do you like waffles? Because I love Eggo waffles. And today we have more Eggo waffles for you. Season 2 of Stranger Things. So here we go. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Calvin Cam podcast, the podcast where we talk about movies and television. I'm Calvin.
And I'm Anthony. And today we have a Stranger Things Season 2 review.
So get ready, because this season takes the excitement to a whole new level. The story continues in Hawkins, Indiana, a year after the events of Season 1, and our favorite kids are back, battling not only supernatural creatures, but also the everyday challenges of growing up. There's a lot of that in this season, and we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
So before we get into it, I'd just like to remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please go hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. And you can also go over to patreon.com/thecalvincam and subscribe to one of our 3 patron tiers. It really helps us go a long way. It helps the channel grow and get better. And hopefully we can deliver better content for you, because we are trying.
Yes, we are. We're basically, we announced the new schedule, so we'll be having more episodes and more content available.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, and you can also find us on all the audio streaming platforms as well. But if you do join our Patreon, we're going to start putting some more exclusive Patreon content on there. So that's something to look forward to if you're a fan of us. But yeah, let's get back into our show. One of the highlights of this season is the incredible character development. You know, we have Will returning from the Upside Down and kind of getting back into the groove of how things are after that terrible traumatic experience from season 1. And it's just it's so interesting to see how he deals with that kind of PTSD, as you would say. And especially because it opens up and he's in the arcade, right?
Yeah, he's in the arcade. He goes out. He goes, I need to go out. I need to take a breather. And then he goes out, and then you see the opening shot of the arcade sign spinning, but it's in the upside down version of it. So he's having these episodes like quite frequently now. And he's seeing new things in the upside down. He's actually seeing this creature that has legs and walking. You kind of see it in that beginning shot with the arcade.
Yeah, there's a lot of really intense sequences, I'd say, in this season, mainly centered around Will. Like, this is the first time that we actually get Will as part of like the main party. Not saying that he wasn't in the first season, but just because he was absent for all of it, and it was, season 1 revolves around the disappearance of Will. We now have him dealing with this, and we have our other characters dealing with him, trying to make sure that he's okay constantly during the whole thing, kind of almost babying him.
Yes.
And it's an interesting aspect to watch that happen. I would, as a father, totally sympathize with Joyce Byers, just because like I'd be constantly worried about my kid.
It's your children. So, you have to be worried about them. You're a parent. That's just a natural instinct.
But we have some really great additions to the cast in this season, which I absolutely love. We have Bob, who is Joyce's boyfriend in this one.
Played by Sean Astin.
Sean Astin, he's the GOAT, dude. I love Sean Astin so much.
And we also have a new doctor that takes place in this season, being played by Paul Reiser.
Yes, an incredible actor as well. Very, very good. We're just growing the cast as the seasons progress, and I love a lot of the characters that are introduced. We also get a new main character amongst our young characters, Max.
Yeah, we have Maxine.
Yeah, Maxine
is referred to Mad Max because of the arcade scene. They found out that Mad Max beats Dustin's high score in Dig Dugs. He's like, who beat my high score? So they're trying to figure out who this person is, and it happens to be this new character that's introduced, Maxine. That's at school in their class.
I love the little like I love that mystery surrounding her character. Just until they reveal like who she is. But yeah, Max Mayfield, that's her last name, and she is played by Sadie Sink, and she is an amazing, incredibly talented actor. She was in the Oscar-winning film The Whale, and
with Brendan Fraser.
yeah,
Okay.
and she plays his daughter in that movie, and that movie is incredible. So it's cool to see that once again. I'm just reiterating, but we just have such great talent that this show keeps growing and growing and growing.
The Duffer Brothers keep knocking it home with basically the cast that just keeps being introduced into the show. And we also have her brother.
Yeah, her brother, who is Billy Hargrove, that's his name, and he's played by Dacre Montgomery, and also an incredible actor. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the newest iteration of the Power Rangers in the movie Power Rangers, but he plays the Red Ranger in that movie.
Okay.
I thought he did a great job. So that's a very good emotional movie, actually, for it being a Power Ranger movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did an awesome job as Max's big brother, who's just a complete and total dickhead.
He's a jerk in this movie, and you kind of see why, because they basically their family went through a divorce, and I believe they moved from California to Indiana, and it's his father. You kind of see him late in the series, in this season. Like you see that interaction with him and his father, and you kind of see where he gets it from. His dad's kind of a douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah, you get this a little bit of exposition on their character, their family dynamic, and they are also just really great additions to the hardships that the kids face in regular life, not dealing with the upside down.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Maxine and
Lucas,
yeah. And that whole storyline, like he cares for Maxine,
yeah,
and he wants to tell her what's going on, but she kind of doesn't want to believe him, because she kind of like says, "Are you being serious?" Because there's a scene where they said, "Well, you're not a part of the party, and we need to talk about something," and she feels left out. She's like, "Why are you guys not telling me this? I thought we were friends."
Yeah, and she's just like, "Well, screw you guys, I'm gonna leave."
Yeah, and so you have that dynamic with Lucas and her, and he finally says, "Well, I want to talk to you." So
so this is what's happening.
Yeah, they do it in the arcade. I remember in the back office, and she still doesn't believe him. And then you have that interesting dynamic when they're with Steve and they're at the junkyard and the bus stop, and that's when she actually says, "Okay, I believe you," because she sees the Demogorgons.
Yeah,
the Demogorgon hounds, I should say.
Yeah, the Demogorgon hounds. Like we talked about in season 1, at the very end of season 1, Will throws up a slug. The slug leads into season 2, where Dustin finds it, and he basically, takes it in as a pet.
Yeah, he names it D'Artagnius, I think, after one of the Three Musketeers.
Yes, which is great, and I think that Dustin also, like, just a side note, Dustin steps it up this season. Like, it creates a whole new, deeper level of his character as well. And I love that Dustin and Steve grow like this really great relationship.
Yeah, there's a good scene where they're talking on the railroad tracks where he's talking about girls. He's like, "No, don't do it this way. Approach it this way."
Yeah,
and there was a whole dynamic with Steve and Dustin in this season, which was really cool. And like he said, like you iterated in our last episode, he is the babysitter protector.
He's the ultimate babysitter protector. I love Steve so much. No, it's good stuff. Now jumping over to one of our main points that I love also is 11, the return of 11. We thought that she was dead. We get kind of a hint at the end that she may not be dead because Hopper leaves the waffles in the box in the forest. But she is very much alive, and he keeps her. Hopper takes her in and keeps her a complete secret from everyone until later on in the season, towards the end, which is a great buildup. They do it very well.
They build it up great, and there's just a lot of things with Eleven in this season. She wants to find history of her past. Like she wants to. I mean, she's in the cabin, and Hopper's gone, and she starts going through stuff, and she finds like a trap door where he has all this stuff down there, and she brings out a file, and she sees that he was investigating what was going on at the facility. And she found a file on her mom, and so she wanted to go find out, where her mom was and actually meet her mom. And then she goes there, and then she figures out that she has a sister, which we see in the beginning of the season when it opens up with the bank robbery with the little crew with the sister.
Yeah,
but she finds out she has a sister. She goes to Chicago, Illinois to like find her, and then she finds her, and then we have this whole story with her sister.
Yeah, we have this. It's a very interesting like little side plot with other experimented kids that have telepathic powers. But it does like what's weird about it is that it wasn't perceived very well in this season, and I believe the Duffer Brothers kind of like dropped that plot.
Okay.
After this season, so that's the last time you'll get to see any.
Okay, because I think she was number 8.
Yes.
Okay.
And they have I want to say like episode 6 is all about them. But it's very it was just it kind of took a lot of people out of the show.
Because I kind of see it branches into a new storyline with the sister and her gang, and you see that they want to make this connection, but then the thing is she's forcing her to do these things that she doesn't want to do because she still has compassion, and she feels like I feel like 8, her sister is kind of a little bit darker, and she wants revenge on all these people that captured her, and then they show that when they go to that one of the main like caretakers of the facility that worked for Dr. Brenner, which is Matthew Modine's character. Mm-hmm. And you see that, they go in there to like kill him, and she sees a picture of the daughters, and she's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it shows Eleven's compassion, because she has compassion and her sister doesn't.
Exactly. But yeah, so like you see what I mean though, like it just like kind of derails from the story that's being told, almost too much. Like, it's a weird concept. It's not also that I don't necessarily like hate that story plot. I just was like, I don't feel like this belongs in this show, if that makes sense.
It was good in terms of backstory, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but a lot of the world also felt the same way, and the Duffer Brothers moving forward in the next couple seasons, you'll watch, they drop that plot pretty much. Not that it doesn't exist, but they just no further development into it yet. Possibly season 5. Who knows if these other characters will return. But Natalia Dyer, who plays Nancy, she is also incredible in this film. She goes through a kind of a like breakup thing with Steve, and it's just interesting because she's trying to make this relationship work and realizing that they aren't good together.
Yeah. I was about to say there's a hint that they have a little breakup, and then Steve kind of accepts it.
Yeah. They very much handle it very adult like for being high school kids. But I think that Nancy also has some really great development in this season as well. I know she's haunted by the ghost of Barb, and she obviously doesn't want anything bad to happen to anybody around her. And her and Jonathan kind of team up.
Yeah, her and Jonathan team up again, and they have you have this scene where in the bedroom where she likes him and she knows that they have chemistry and she likes him. So you have that scene there, and then she goes to investigate Barb by going to this guy. I think he's kind of what is he like a?
He's like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, he's a conspiracy theorist.
You're talking about his name's Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And he's played by Brett Gelman, and he's hilarious. He only gets more hilarious. So, but after meeting Murray, they kind of start really developing their relationship, and eventually end up sleeping together. And then they're the dynamic duo that was hinted at in the first season.
Yeah.
So many great choices. As far as casting and story decisions, all leading up to an incredible climax towards the end, going back to the lab. And we had a very sad moment in this season where we actually lost somebody, Sean Astin. He dies, and it's sad, man.
He does one for the greater good. They're inside the facility, and all the power gets shut down. The only way to turn it on, and he's kind of a tech guy, so he has to use QBasic to go in there to log in and reset the power after he puts the power on, and just opens the gate. And you have this scene where he's trying to get out, and Paul Reiser's kind of leading him out, and then all of a sudden he gets to the door, and there's a Demogorgon hound that just gets him.
Yep, just completely mauls him, attacks him, kills him, and Joyce watches the whole thing, and it's super sad. So, but yeah, it's ultimately the season does what any second season should do, and just up the stakes a little bit more, giving us more story. And I think that the Duffer Brothers do such a great job with this show, making us hungry for more.
Yeah, most definitely,
constantly,
because it just evolves. They up the game every time with the story. I mean, like the whole thing with Will in the Upside Down, and how he's linked. They say like a mind flayer. He's linked to this big giant monster that keeps haunting him. And you have this time he's haunted by it, and he does drawings, and he does the whole tunnel system of the Upside Down with the whole layer of where they have the Demogorgons being birthed. Like you get that little nod where they burn it, kind of feels like Aliens when Ripley goes in there and burns the hive at the very end. So you have that whole thing, and you have 11 that comes back.
Yes, she comes back. She finally is reunited with Mike, and it's a very touching scene. And yeah, they do a really great job of bringing everything back to where the fans want it to be.
Yeah.
And also there's some really dark and disturbing things on top of just Sean Astin dying. But when Will gets possessed by the Mind Flayer, which is also another great D&D reference, by the way, Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
So
they have there's that whole scene where Dustin's talking about the Mind Flayer. They bust out their D&D book, and and then
I mean, we've been playing Baldur's Gate 3. We know the Mind Flayers.
Yeah. And then you have this whole thing with Jim Hopper not saying, what is this? And he explains kind of what this is. This could be that this is a possibility. This is what this is. And I thought that was cool with the dynamic, even though Jim Hopper, I'm seeing more references to 80s stuff. Jim Hopper is Jim Hopper from Predator.
Yeah, I was hoping you would get it.
Yes.
I was like,
yeah,
yes, it's great.
So you have
stuff.
those, and then, like I said, 11 comes back, and Hopper pours out with emotion. He goes, "What I did was wrong to you, 11. What I did to you was wrong, Mike, and I'm sorry." You know what I mean? And then you have the whole, resolution with him, and then you have the resolution between 11 and him and Hopper himself when they're in the car driving over to the facility. Like, I'm sorry, this, that, and then they get their connection back and
Yeah.
they regain trust with each other. And he's just basically trying to be a dad to her because he lost his daughter, and he's like, kind of feel like the same way. In a way, he's kind of like Joel from The Last of Us.
Very much.
Because he lost his daughter and he wants, I mean, Eleven's kind of like Ellie, so he like wants to take care of her.
Yeah. He's like meant to be in that role in life. So he finds somebody who needs that role and he accepts it. Even though it's a challenge, obviously, because they do have their bickering, and then like their arguments, but eventually they've created a father-daughter bond that I think works. So good.
And then you have the end. The ends where they go down to the facility and she closes the gate.
Yes.
And then Will has been exorcised, like the spirit leaves his body, or
Mind Flayer,
the Mind Flayer or whatever leaves his body. And you have the other group, which is the kids with Steve, babysitter, protector.
Babysitter.
They go down into the hole, the hive, and they burn it, and they just do that, and everything works out at the end. And then they seem. Things work out in the end, and then you have the whole ending with the dance, which is cool, and then that ends the season.
It's a very nice ending compared, but yeah. So that's gonna be it for the review. I would ultimately give this season a 4.5 out of 5. Last season I gave a 5 out of 5. This one, it's not that I didn't like it. It's a 4.5 out of 5. I really loved it, but I just don't think it's as great as season 1. The footprint that it leaves, like season 1 did, and I don't think that I obviously didn't like the story, the side story with 11 and her sister. So I have to, that's a whole episode's worth of content that we could have gotten more better stuff in Hawkins, honestly, for me. What would you rate this?
4 out of 5. I definitely don't want to reiterate your words, but the side story kind of threw off the whole dynamic of what's going on in Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
And but other than that, the acting again was solid. The new characters that were introduced, they're great. Same thing, kept it consistent with the 80s theme, and it was awesome. So yeah, that's the reason why I give it 4 out of 5.
All right. So Anthony, hit us with those fun facts that we do every episode.
Okay, we have some fun facts for season 2. Like I said, they're going to be split up. I have tidbits from all the seasons, so we'll get through this episode for fun facts. Finn Wolfhard, Mike, recorded his audition tape from his bed because he was sick. So that's an interesting one. The state trooper guarding the morgue is a reading by Cujo by Stephen King. This one shows many of hat tips to the author's work. So like lots of Stephen King stuff, like we talked about in the previous episode. There's a feel of Spielberg and King.
Yeah, I think Stephen King has a great presence in this show. So
yeah, I definitely agree. The twin actresses that played Holly Wheeler are Tinsley Price and Aniston Price. They are the same twins who played the original baby Judith in season 4 of The Walking Dead.
Oh,
in 2010.
Okay.
So I thought that one was an interesting one. In an interview with Complex in 2016, the Duffer Brothers stated that John Carpenter has a big inspiration for the music and style of the show. So you can totally see that, and just all the references with the Thing poster, and just like you can see the inspiration for John Carpenter
easily
in this. The Hawkins Police Department vehicles and uniforms are identical to those used in Jaws in 1975 and Jaws 2 in 1978. This includes the Chief David Harbour's fan uniform, Amityville triangle-shaped patch, and being the SUV that was worn by Roy Scheider's character. This also blue uniforms and the troopers sheriff style has been worn in the show. So that's a cool one.
Yeah.
because you see the Jaws poster all over the place, like in Will's house. So I thought that was really cool. Okay. The next one we have here, Billy Hargrove's license plate is PCE 235, is a nod to Jack Burton's truck from the Pork Chop Express and John Carpenter's A Big Trouble in Little China. See, lots of Carpenter influences in this, and I just think that's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right. The next one we have here, 11 getting nosebleeds all the time when she has used her powers, is a nod to Charlie's dad in Firestarter and Ripley in Aliens. If you can think of those, I thought that was really awesome too. Just lots of references to 80s stuff in the show. It's just good. The series logo resembles the front used in the covers of the original 1980s editions of Stephen King novels, notably Cujo and Christine, like the font and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, that's all the fun facts we have for Stranger Things Season 2. We'll have more with the last 2 seasons, Seasons 3 and 4. So, we'll have more.
All righty, everyone. We will catch you next time. Thanks for sticking around and watching us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and help us out. We will catch you again soon.
Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you all so much for watching the Calvin Cam podcast. You can find us on any social media platforms like Instagram or Twitter. Go check our podcast out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. We also have YouTube channel, the Calvin Cam. Go over there, hit that like and subscribe button, and follow us there. As well as you can now really support us on Patreon.com. It's probably the best place to support us. So you can go there, join one of our 3 tiers, and help us get bigger and better, and we will appreciate you every step of the way. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good night.